Hello. Welcome to the season 2 of Notes from My Journal podcast with Faye. Yes. We're doing this again for the second time. September, starting the fall. It's not fall yet, but you know what I mean. Welcome back. Let's do this again. Hey y'all, what's up? It's been a minute. No, it's more than a minute. It's good to be back here, and it feels so nice to be recording a podcast of season 2. Yippee. By the time this goes out, I'll be in my new apartment. Yikes. Long story, and that's gonna be like a whole episode of its own, so watch out for that. Today is about one of the most memorable trips I've gone on, and to be honest, I was checking through my journal, and I realized that I did not have like a whole journaling experience of this holiday. Like, I have bits and bits here about when I came back from the trip, and I also have bits in my other notepad about when I was transiting in this country to another. But I don't have a journal of the events that occurred in this country. So the country is Portugal. If you know me, you know I love Portugal. Like, I'm so sold. Like, Portugal is like second home for me now. I've been there once. I know it's not going to be the last time. There's going to be multiple trips going there because I feel connected to Portugal. Like, I don't feel like a foreigner in Portugal. So imagine if I live there. Anyway, so Portugal was the first trip I went for after COVID. So COVID, we know, was like 2 years post. There's still COVID, but there was lockdown for the longest. So from it was the first trip since 2020. So that was September 2021. Spoke to one of my best girls. Yeah, we planned this stuff. And I wanted to go to Lisbon. She wanted to go to Portugal. So we did half and half. Have some days in Porto, some days in Lisbon. Best decision ever. So I'm gonna start with when I got to Porto. So I transited in France. I wanted to exchange some money. It was so expensive at the airport. And then got to Porto, and the exchange place was closed. They said since COVID started, they had not opened the center. I'm like, what a way to start a trip. So I messaged my friend, like I'm trying to book a Uber or something, and yikes, I couldn't, because the way I planned the trip, that day wasn't daying. Anyway, it turns out, figured out all that, booked an Uber or a Bolt or a Taxify, I think it's a Bolt. Booked a Bolt, and I did to our Airbnb. My friend was coming from Germany, and she was working that day, so our flight was in the evening. So I arrived earlier at noon or something, or maybe early afternoon. And I was having a conversation with the driver, and he mentioned asking me, "Oh, are you touring here?" I said yes. "Oh, would you where would you be visiting?" I mentioned a few places, and he was like, "Oh, you should go to Albufeira." If I'm correct, permit me. Please, I apologize on behalf of my Portuguese and lovers of Portugal if I did not pronounce that right. You know what? Let me just check real quick. Why not? Because I love this place. I never got to see it, but if I ever plan to go to Portugal again, this will be my first stop. It's called, I was correct, Albufeira. Yes, it's so beautiful there from the pictures, but that was not part of our plan, so we did not visit. So back to the story. Landed in Porto, got to the Airbnb, was nice host. and I was just chilling for my friend to come. She came, we catched up, bonded, laughed, blah blah blah, and went out to find dinner. So that's how the holiday started. So the next day we had like an itinerary, right? The next day we went to this beach. It was nice. It wasn't one of my favorite because I'd missed the beach. I'm a beach girl. Like, I love the sea. I was expecting something, that would connect me back to home. The breeze, I connected to that. But the sea the one in Porto had a lot of seaweed, and they were green, and it just rubbed off of me differently. Okay, it's Porto, it's Portugal. I'll let that pass. So we went looking for food. We had a nice meal actually. The fish was nice, fried, and so we went to one restaurant. It was very expensive. We later didn't eat there, so we found one. We took a walk. Checked online, took a walk down, and found a really nice restaurant. So the ambience was good. There was a lot of people, and we had squid, fried squid, rice, chips, and things like this. It was still just the second day of the holiday, so yeah. And then, oh my God, one night, I think the third day, we went to the city center. It was beautiful. One thing I've realized about Europe is, for me, from my own perspective, there's really not much difference, The city centers are pretty much the same. The architecture is similar. They're all similar. Sometimes I wonder why people, I don't know, maybe it's just my point of view, why people feel like, when they get to a new city, they're like, I love the architecture. I'm like, dude, come on. It's just like the same architecture you were coming from, maybe in another city. Like, yeah. Anyway, so I got to this place that had like this phone booth and stuff, and it made me remember one of my holidays as well. It was plus and minus. It was just, but we took good pictures there for my friend. Obviously, I wasn't interested in taking pictures with the phone booth because I'd done that in the past. What else then happened that night? Okay, we took nice pictures. Oh, lovely ice cream. Yeah, they have good ice cream. And then I think the fourth day, either the third or the fourth day. So the third day, like I said, we went to the city center, and then we got to a place. I started seeing some lights from afar, like a bridge. I don't know, that bridge was calling me. Like it was like, you need to visit me before you go, that kind of vibe. I was seeing it like in layers of houses, but through those houses, the spaces between those houses, you just see the lights. There was light all over the bridge. It was beautiful. So the fourth day, my friend and I decided to go on solo events, right? So I was interested in going to the museum, the park. My friend was interested in going to see the city. So we split up and we're going to meet back in the city center. I went to the park. It was so beautiful. Guess what? I was matching. I was wearing the brown pant trousers and a Disney World t-shirt with animation on it. And the park is not a park. It's a park, I would say. Like, it's not a reserve either. It's something in between a park and a reserve. It's called I completely do not remember, but when I do remember, I would say it. I went to the park, and the floor was like, the sand was brown, that kind of sand you experience when you're in Africa, that creamy chocolate sand, if you get what I mean. And I was matching with my clothes. I'm like, okay, girl. You're in the right place. You were in the right place. There was nothing so much to see there, but it was calming. It was like connecting to nature. saw a few animals here and there, but that's not what I remember that much. What I remember more is the trees. There's this tree that's more than 100 years old. It was brown. You know when a tree had died, but it's still standing tall. Like it doesn't even have branches or anything. It's just a straight, tall, giant piece of I wouldn't say piece of wood rooted in the floor. Like it's a tree that does not have branches. I'm sure it does have a name, but when you stare into the sky, it still goes right up. And it was brown. So I took pictures there. Like I set my camera, and it blended with my clothes. It was so beautiful. I loved that I visited there, and then my friend and I, we met up. I think we met up for dinner, if I remember. I'm not sure. Or something like that. And then, yes, we met up. And then we parted ways again. I said I wanted to go to Primark. Like, I don't know. There's a thing about me traveling and Primark. Like, I'm not really a shopper. I don't shop when I travel, but I always visit one Primark because there's always a Primark that has something you need at home that you don't have, that the Primark in your place of residence does not have. I don't know why, but that always happens. But yeah, I ended up realizing that if I took a boat down to Primark, it was very expensive, and yeah, I would have only 10 minutes left to shop, because they closed there at 10 and it was already 9, and the Uber would get there at 9:45 or 9:50. It didn't make any sense. So I changed my mind and I went back to that bridge that was calling me. Damn, that bridge is beautiful. And it's not a low bridge, it's high up in the sky. Like the bridge is like 2 layers. Like there's 2 layers of bridge in Porto. There's one at the top and there's one below before the sea. And my friend and I, during the day, we walked through the one below because she's afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights as well, but I just don't know something. I just felt like I needed to cross the upper part. Tell me about taking risks. People were there too, so. And the upper part, the very, very top, is the one where the trams go through. Cars go through as well. So I began this journey of baby steps. So I went to the part of the bridge that's connected to the city center is where I came in from. So I started working. Don't look down, don't look down, don't look down. And you know, on those tracks of the bridge, you can see like there's a tiny space between the bridge and the tracks of the tram. So in between those, you can actually see down. You can look down and you see the sea. Just tiny. You will get what I mean. You understand what I mean if you pass bridges and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, you know. And then I started feeling this thing in my feet. You know, when you're about to start feeling shaky. And I started walking fast. And I walked fast and I got to the middle and I'm like, should I turn back? I'm like, okay, if I turn back now, it's the same journey you're going back. Like the same journey going backwards is the same journey that I would have passed if I continue going forward. I'm like, I might as well go forward anyways. Why not? And then I continued, and the view, oh my god, the view was beautiful. The lights on the buildings there are not like skyscrapers. They're like the vibe where you have, you know, those white buildings in Greece when people go to Mykonos, that it's just white and blue houses all close to the sea. Then this is different. This is the opposite of that. This is colorful buildings. There's pink, there's yellow, colorful houses, there's purple, there's lilac, there's think of blue, think of any color that brings you life. It was there. Now imagine those colorful small houses in clusters, and there's light all over them, and you can see it from the top of the highest bridge. Whew. I took it all in. I took that moment in. I was truly in that moment. I was deeply smiling. I connected with that place. I really did. So I ended up finishing the walk down, and then there's a part, it was already getting empty at this time. People were already going home, even tourists that were there were already going home. But I felt like I needed to see the bottom of that bridge, because me and my friend was there in the afternoon, the bottom. So I wanted to go back to the bottom and then take pictures of the bridge from below, because I already took from above. And then it started drizzling. I got down. I really took like maybe 10 minutes walk to go. It's not like a straight road. You go in between houses, you go in between shortcuts. You see people, tourists coming, cycling, about 3 people. And then I got to the down of the bridge. The bridge was filled with lights. It was lit up. And I took a few videos of that. And then it started drizzling. And turns out, for me checking through the app, for me to go back home, I have to go cross the bridge back to get me to the city center and take a bus. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I crossed this bridge already first time. Why wouldn't I be able to cross the second time? This time, I was very fast. And so many other little events, happened. Like, if I backtrack a little bit, that afternoon of the same day was when my friend and I had garlic shrimp sauce. I had garlic shrimp sauce, and I had with rice. I had no idea garlic sauce could taste that nice. I had a perception about garlic, and yeah, I was sold out. I was sold out. My friend is an explorer, so she had already googled. When she travels, she likes to take traditional cuisines, of the places she goes to, and try them out for an experience. So she tried this, like the blend of fish, then it's fried, coated in flour, and then it's fried. It tasted nice. It did taste nice. I loved it. And then I got this. I just, and the restaurant was like in between the streets of, 2 rows of houses and left and right, and chairs in between the streets. And one woman came from upstairs of her house and came down to sell her stuff. In Yoruba, you say otogba, like she came down to sell a market. And there were these beautiful white towels in them, and I was just looking at the artworks on them. It was €2 each, and I was looking at those artworks. I'm like, what will there be people interested in buying this? I'm like, and I was just just checking all those artworks, and then while eating, and then I saw something. I saw a white towel that had the bridge in it. The bridge I just crossed the day prior. I'm like, okay, now I see why this woman is going to sell, because people are going to see what they're connected to. Because some of them had the cock crow, like a cock, a cock, a chicken, a chicken or cock. And it's, the color is red with, what a chicken looks like, yeah. And that's one of the logos of Portugal. It's when it's like one of their identity, and the bridge as well. So you would always see something that interests you. Meanwhile, I forgot to mention that they are very well known to make tiles. Tiles is their traditional. There's this traditional tiles they make, very beautiful, and painted. It's one of their traditional tiles so some houses, like the Airbnb that we were in, all the whole floor was tiled, the outdoor was tiled with those traditional tiles. So if that's your theme, that's what you'll be attracted to, and that's what you're gonna buy. And yeah, I got a magnet as well of Porto that had the bridge and the hen and everything, and the yellow bus. It was beautiful. And then I think the 4th day we headed to Lisbon. Yes, my city. I love Lisbon even before I was there. We got to Lisbon, we got to our Airbnb, and there was a little bit of glitch at the train station. Yeah, we missed our way twice. We got to where was our Airbnb again? Oh, it took a while to locate that, but thank God we finally did. That story, the Airbnb was not a good one. It did not match up with the first one we're coming from, and yeah, was so disappointing. We had to ask for a refund back. Anyway, back to the story. Got to Lisbon. I've always wanted to see the castle. There's this particular castle an influencer visited. I saw on an IG story, and I made up my mind. That was the main reason I got interested to go to Portugal. And I'm trying to find the name of the why am I catching my words? Why is it hard for me to articulate my words properly? So this particular castle was, I'm gonna go into my Instagram and I'm gonna check it out. This particular castle was so beautiful, like so beautiful. Belém Castle. It's called Belém Tower. If you ever get the time or the chance to go to Portugal, to go to Lisbon, please go to Belém Tower. It is beautiful there. Took lovely pictures. Now in Belém Tower, it's connected to the sea. The Belém Tower, I connected to the sea there. It was clean sea. The sands were giving me the Lagos vibe. The beaches I used to go to when I was younger. Though it was a warm day, I was wearing a nice dress. My friend was wearing a beautiful dress as well. Mine was like an African attire, and I got a lot of stares, and we didn't care at all. Because I had one goal and one goal only, to soak in that moment and be able to look at those pictures and say, yes, this is it. Lisbon was beautiful. We went to a couple of restaurants, I think. And yeah, what else? I'm trying to remember what else we did. Okay, then this time I was able to go to Primark to pick up a few things that I needed, and but that was the highlight for me for Lisbon. And then we went to a couple of places as well. My friend then stepped out, to see some places she was interested in. And yeah, now let's talk about the people. Okay, the people are nice. They're nice to tourists. Well, every country is nice to the tourists. You're coming to spend in their country. But apart from that, there's some people I know. No, don't let me generalize. It's not every. I know people who have had bad experiences as tourists in some countries, and yeah, I don't want to mention names, but yeah, it is what it is. I think I've experienced that as well. But generally, because as a black person, there are a lot of blacks in Portugal, and generally nobody's staring at you weirdly, because why would they? There are a lot of Portuguese as well. I noticed that people also have 4C hair. Like, it was wild. Like, people have my hair texture. Fam. Another experience was when I was in the bus. The buses come very slow, by the way. They're never on time. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Are we still in Europe? They're never on time. Just forget it. 20 minutes, they just arrived. The trams are very, very punctual, though. They come in at the right time. So we got into this bus. Let me go back to Porto. I got into the bus. I was supposed to meet my friend. And then somebody was not wearing a mask. We're still in during COVID times. Someone was not wearing a mask. Apparently, she had a medical proof for it, but the driver would not move the bus until she wears a mask. And she said she's not wearing the mask because she didn't say why. She just said she's not wearing a mask. So the driver called the police, right? And the police came to her, talk to her, and then she showed the paper to the police that she has medical reasons for not wearing a mask. It was chaotic. So someone beside me was shouting at the top of her voice, like, in Portuguese. And like, I don't know what it is, but they're like, you let us go. Why are you stopping everyone for getting to their destination because of this issue? And then there was a man sitting opposite me, and he started speaking to me in Portuguese. He was like, I don't know what he was saying, but from his gestures, like, can you imagine? She's not wearing a mask, apparently, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Because I didn't want to start explaining that I don't understand what he was saying. Everybody's just communicating, I'm like, whoa, this is wild. Like, it made me feel like I was back in Africa, back at home, where people just, talk to you. Nobody's like, you're not considered a stranger. Just start a conversation. Like when you're in the public transport, they're like, can you imagine what is going on? What's this, was that? That's exactly how it was. Like, can you imagine? People talk to people like it's normal, which is a very good thing that I appreciated about them. There's a part of Porto also that reminded me of Lagos Island where I used to work. Like the scenery, everything, the trees, the tall buildings, everything. I'm like, oh, whoa, this is really nice. Remembering everything just gives me like a nice feel. Yeah. So now that I've talked about the people and my experiences, would I love to go to Portugal again? Yes, I would love to go to Portugal again and again and again and again and again. And it's going to be my second home in Europe. Point blank, period. So normally, like how we do the podcast, I read from the journal and either in the beginning or in the middle or the end. But today it's just pure vibes. We're just vibing it. Like I said earlier, I had some things I wrote for prior the trip and post the trip, but I don't have anything written about during the trip. So everything I'm saying now is just from my memory and how much I loved the whole country and the 2 cities I visited. When next I'm going, I'll be visiting different places as well and documenting that trip. I hope you do enjoy my rant. It's not a rant. No, this is not the rant. This is an admiration and experience on one of my trips, holidays. I think this is the first time I'm actually doing like a whole episode for one of my holidays. And this podcast is about this and that and everything in between. Yes. And travels of course is one of them. So, like I said, when this goes out, I'll be in my new apartment, and then for subsequent podcasts will be recorded from there. I don't know why, but I just felt the need to record this one here. I don't know why. It's been in, when something is burning in your heart, like you need to do this now. And I'm like, listen to this voice, do this now. Maybe it's gonna be, intense to move and stuff. I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm gonna tell you everything about the whole move, searching for an apartment, how long I've been searching for. You need to look forward to the next podcast. Until then, this is Notes from My Journal with Faye.